I speak to you in the name of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. We have just begun a new liturgical year. It's Advent 1. And the theme that we've been reflecting on the last part of the last year has been the theme of the end times. The second coming of Christ, waiting for the day of the Lord. What does that look like? What does that mean? And as always, I find the metaphorical use of these images much more helpful than the literal. And so I've been exploring the understanding of these metaphors as best as I know how. And the last time I spoke on this topic, a week or two ago, I was emphasizing one side of a two-sided image. The end times, metaphorically, has two dimensions to it. And there's a dimension that is a not yet dimension, and there's a dimension that's a now dimension. And at the end of the year, as we were sort of looking forward to the fullness of time, I was wanting to really zero in on that not yet dimension, on how it's important to remember that the kingdom of God is never fully realized here on earth, and how it's in God's hands, and so on. Now that we've shifted into Advent, I believe the emphasis has shifted to the now side of the end times, the day of the Lord. And there's a sense in which not only is the day of the Lord still coming, but there's a sense in which the day of the Lord is already here. And so as we shift from looking ahead to the second coming of Christ to putting ourselves into a waiting place for the first coming of Christ, I believe that the metaphors invite us to reflect on that sense of being ready for Christ to come again in a here and now kind of way or sense. So that here and now, we talk about staying awake. The great theme of Advent, keep awake, don't fall asleep, don't let that day catch you napping. And so there's this spiritual advice to us from our tradition to be wakeful, to be mindful, to be alert, and not miss the day of the Lord. You have that image of two people in the field, and one is taken and one is left, as if to say, if you're not paying attention, the day of the Lord will come, and you will miss it. And I've always found this incredibly helpful from a spiritual life perspective, because if the day of the Lord is something that comes to us in human experience, if there's a moment where eternity breaks through into time, which is another way of understanding the way of the Lord, that we live as creatures of time and God lives in eternity, but there are these moments of eruption from eternity into the temporal realm, where the incarnation is the classic example of that. When Christ is born, the fullness of God came and dwelt amongst us as one of us in time. So eternity becomes enfleshed in the baby. And that becomes the metaphor for how the eternal realities, the realities of God, break forth into our experience in particular moments. And there are lots of ways, because it's a metaphor. It's not, you can't nail it down and define it precisely. But if you think through your own spiritual journeys, you will probably identify moments where you felt like the Lord had broken through into your experience, and that there was something transcendent about that particular moment. It could be as innocuous as a sunbeam hitting the floor in a certain way in your house, and yet for you in that moment, what that sunbeam meant was something that transformed your life, because it made you think about something in a new way, which gave you a whole new life direction. And so God broke through into every experience. Eternity came and dwelt amongst you in your life, in your spiritual journey, and you were changed. And so it was a day of the Lord for you. And of course, the message of Advent is, if you're asleep, you're going to miss that beam of sunlight, and it'll be sitting there shining with the message for you, and you'll be so busy doing whatever it is you're doing that, you just notice the dust in the air. Oh, I really need to dust. That's the message I'm taking. You're missing the whole thing that God is trying to tell you. So the great Advent theme of keeping awake becomes this spiritual advice from our tradition to say, these days of the Lord come to us. They came to us in the baby already 2,000 years ago. But that exposed something about the nature of the reality in which we live. We live in a reality that is permeated by eternity. It's not just atoms and molecules and the time-space bubble and things following their predetermined physics. it's something much more big and mysterious than that. And human experience becomes a way to connect with the bigness of the universe. Because I don't know what those moments are for you, but I have a couple of them that I can list where I was arrested in my tracks to say, there's something about this moment. I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on. But the only word I have to talk about it is the word God. That's all I can say, that God was there. And I'm having a hard time not looking at Jane, because her question to everybody, every time she stands in front of the room, is, where was God for you today, or last week, or last month, or since we last got together? And I tease her, but I'm 100% on board. That is the Advent question. Are we paying attention? Because God comes to us, God breaks through everyday experience and has messages, insight, inspiration, transcendent beauty and glory, mystery and magic and wonder and awe. And most of the time, what are we doing? We're sleepwalking through life. And don't get me wrong, sleepwalking can look very, very busy. I'm an expert at being busy and not paying any attention, as anyone who's worked with me can tell you. Busy, busy, busy. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Huh? What? Right? And so I know this from the inside. I get it. And so I take the Advent message to heart. This is one of the ones that, that I'm working on real hard, because it's really easy to sleepwalk really fast. And so how is it that all of us, I know my landscape all too well. I don't know your landscapes as well, but I know you have them. And I know there are ways that you find yourself sleepwalking through your life, going about your days, just doing the things that you do, thinking about the things that you think about, being preoccupied with your preoccupations. And in the grind of that process, God is breaking through again and again, and the question is, are you paying attention? So the great question of where God is for you in this moment or this day is a way to stop you, to wake you out of your slumber and say, oh, right, I'm supposed to be paying attention. Where was God for me today? Where was God for me this week? So that great Advent theme of keeping awake reminds us to just take those moments through the day and wake ourselves back up to whatever that reality is for us, because the message is, if we're not paying attention, we'll miss it. And the last thing I will say is that there are moments when God breaking through into reality are obvious. The expression I first learned as a young person from my parents was, sometimes God hits you over the head with a baseball bat. And there are those moments, a near-miss car accident, there are things where you just can't escape it. And even when you're sleepwalking, you can't miss the fact that God just did something. But there are more subtle ways in which this occurs, and that's why we have to train ourselves to keep awake, to stay watchful, to watch for the day of the Lord. And the mystics tell us, and this is my final point, the mystics tell us that every moment is the day of the Lord. And the only problem is we're not paying attention. So we start by reminding ourselves to wake up with a view to maybe being able to stay awake for 1 minute or 1 hour, 100%, so that becomes our way of life. That every moment of every day is an unfolding of God's blessing and grace and glory, if only we have the eyes to see it, particularly in times of stress and trouble. Which are often the times when we think that God is farthest from us. But if we have the eyes to see it, then God is with us even in those moments, if only we were to stay awake. So keep awake, so that day will not catch you like a thief in the night. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.